I freaking love photo books. Looking at images from other awesome photographers from all these really cool places around the world, reading cool stories. It's always just so much fun to sit down and do. It's actually something I've always wanted to do, so I think what we're going to do today is make our own photo book. I just got back from a trip to California, so I have a bunch of images that I shot in a similar style and edited in a similar way. So we're going to put those all together and see if we come out of it with a book by the end of this video. Let's get into it. Let's get it. So, like I mentioned before, I shot a lot of the images on this trip in a similar style, and I've got them pulled up. I pulled them into a Lightroom Collection here for us to kind of take a look at so I can kind of better explain what I mean by that. I was kind of going for, with all of these images, I wanted them to look like really timeless. So by that I mean, I don't really want to include any technology or anything that would allow you to like date them to any particular timestamp. Like in the world of COVID, I'm not including masks. I'm not going to include photos of cars in it. I'm not going to include photos of phones or anything like that. I'm trying to kind of keep it so it could be any time in the last 80 years that these photos could have been taken. In addition to that, I kind of influenced the way I edited these. The editing on this style is supposed to look very film-like. So if we take a look at some of these here, it's kind of got that romanticized film look to them. The highlights are intentionally blown out. I've actually, like, if you look at the sliders in Lightroom, you can see that actually contrast is bumped down, exposure is bumped up, the shadows are brought up to kind of give it that more flat look. Color temperatures are all kind of messed with depending on the image to kind of keep things consistent. I've added a lot of grain to these images. So whenever I get this book finished and whenever I build this book out, I want to kind of have this consistent style with it. Kind of looking at some of these others here, you can see throughout a lot of these images that that timeless kind of quality that I'm talking about. So this is a good example. This is one that I'm not going to use because you can see this car in the back here that would allow you to like date what approximate time period this would be. In addition to that, these images are supposed to feel very haphazardly taken in a way. They're supposed to feel kind of like a casual documentarian vibe. I shot a lot of images that I would normally shoot a little bit tighter. I shot them really wide. A good example of that casual feel, like this is purposefully not a very good photo, but it's one I want to include in the book because it kind of captures the moment, the feel of the sand that we were walking on. We were on this part of the trip. And so this is the vibe. This is what we're going for. This is what I'm trying to create. As far as our actual trip, we hit a few different spots on this road trip. We went to Sausalito, we went to Napa, and then we went down along the coast to Carmel and then spent the rest of the time in Big Sur. I want these photos to still kind of have a bit of an adventure feel. So with this, I'm still kind of leaning on the more landscape nature side of things. So I'm not going to include any photos from Napa, and I have a few photos from Muir Woods. Whenever we were in Sausalito, we went to Muir Woods, and these photos are like really timeless. I really like the way that they turned out, and I think they work in the greater photo set. But as far as location goes, I'm not sure if I'm going to include them or not. So in terms of how I'm going to make this photo book, I've kind of landed on using Artifact Uprising. I've used them in the past whenever I did my first print sale. I printed some images through them in the past, and I really like the way that they print images and the quality that comes out of those images. So I think I'm going to go with them for making this photo book as well. When it comes to the design of the photo book, I want something, again, very timeless. If anything, leaning a little bit more vintage, a little bit more retro in the style. I don't really want to include a lot of words here. I don't even want this to really be a like personal memento. I kind of want this to just be like something that if you saw this in a store in one of the places we went to, you'd be like, oh, this fits. I might pick this little art project up. So I want to keep that in mind as I'm making these. I think size-wise, I think 6x8 is fine. I don't want something huge. I think that's a good size that's not going to be overwhelming. In terms of fabric color, we got all these options for fabric color. Olive, gunmetal. Parchment really works for that kind of throwback style. Ooh, what's this? It's sea mist. Which one is this one? That has to be sea mist, right? That can't be another color. Yeah, cool. All right, book jacket, I guess we have to go full. Page count, we're gonna limit ourselves to 50 pages. I think there's a total of 100 images in here. I think if we do some kind of collage pages, we'll be able to fit everything that we want in here. All right, let's make our book. So what are we working with here? We got all our pages on the left. We got pages. Okay, so these are our layouts. Looks like we can adjust our layouts here at the bottom. So in terms of arranging these images, I'm thinking of kind of basically going in chronological order. I'm gonna work under the assumption we're gonna use these Mirror Woods photos. Let's go ahead and add these photos, by the way. So I've got this folder here with all these photos. Go ahead and start uploading them. Create a new gallery. California photo book 01. And we can see these coming in here. So for this first page, we need a layout. I think we want to do, maybe we start strong. Maybe the landscape one on the side. And then do we have a collage that we can do for like 4? We can do a trio mix. And again, we don't want to do any text with these. We kind of want to keep this. We want the photos to speak for themselves pretty much. So, all right. So we're gonna put this one here. What if we put this one here? Then we can do, this one would go well here. And then this one, we just put here. What might be kind of cool is if we did these first 2 pages as kind of a collage of what's to come. And then we start the project here. So like with this, what if we did something like this? And this is kind of like a preview of like all the images we have in store. This is what we've got for you. We've got our forest photo. We've got, it's a good portrait one. We have this one. This one's good. Yeah. So we have this photo ready for you. We've got some camping stuff. So maybe like this. It's like these 3. Or maybe we change the layout for this. Yeah. So kind of flip it. And so now we can do like, hey, we're going to the beach. We need like a good classic, yeah, let's actually replace that with this. And then our 2 portrait images, maybe we do this photo from the lighthouse. One thing I'm noticing using this, I really wish I could tell if something was landscape or portrait based on the thumbnail. I really don't like that I have to hover over it to figure that out. It's okay, but it's not ideal. Anyway. All right, we'll go to our full bleeds. So we're gonna start with this. So this now we're actually gonna start with Mirror Woods. So maybe we do this. I like that. For this one, I liked that trio mix before. Let's go ahead and add that in. And I think this is gonna be our only Mirror Woods. Somebody let me know in the comment section what the right thing is for this. This is gonna be our only Mirror Woods page. So I know I'm repeating this from the first page, but this is supposed to be like the teaser, you know? So then this is back in here. We're gonna put this up here. And then this one, I think I had a really cool, this is it, yeah. This is the one I'm thinking. I don't like I have two of her walking there. Let's see if we can find another option. Yeah, like that. That looks good. All right, so I think we have a good foundation for our book here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish this out, polish it up, and then it says it's gonna take about 2 to 3 weeks to ship, so I'll check back in with you whenever it comes in the mail. So I'll see you guys in a few weeks, in a few days, who knows? It's finally here. So it's been a few weeks. Took about a week after I finished making the book for it to get in, so a bit shorter than anticipated. The packaging itself is gorgeous. I think it kind of leans into what Artifact tries to sell, and that they say they sell really high quality products. I think they just kind of try to keep that through line for the entire like customer experience. Opening this thing up, we can actually take a look at the photo book. So my initial thoughts on the actual cover of the book, the image quality is incredible. There's a nice like rubberized coating almost on this like matte finish for the photo cover, and I think it feels really nice. It feels really high quality in your hands. As far as the size goes, I love the 6x8. I think it's really easy to store and put away, but also it feels big enough where like the photos still really stand out and like look good and are worth actually printing. Inside of the actual photo sleeve, here is our sea mist color that we picked out earlier. The fabric's nice. It's a cloth fabric, and sea mist is exactly what I hoped for. We titled this thing A Walk Along the Water, and this nice blue kind of sea misty color is perfect for that. As far as looking inside of the book, the paper and the image quality is great. The paper has a really nice matte feel to it, and the actual images, once they're printed, are nice and sharp. I do see a little bit of lining on some of the images, but it's nothing too distracting, and you really kind of have to start examining the photo book before that starts to show up. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this turned out. I really love this little book. This was a super fun experiment. Would I use Artifact Uprising to print a photo book again? I think so, but only for personal use projects. The layout options on Artifact are pretty limited, and there's not a lot of multi-image layouts to choose from, and some of the text editing features kind of leave a little bit to be desired. As far as the printing quality goes, I'm really happy with it. But if I were doing a project for a book that I wanted to actually publish and print at scale, I definitely want to use something more like Illustrator to get things exactly how I wanted. In our case, we were going for a very minimalistic style, so we didn't have any text in ours anyway, and limited layout options was something that I could work with when I was only printing a book of 50 pages. Overall, I'm really happy with how this experiment turned out. It was a great exercise in shooting images that were supposed to be of a specific style and imagining them in some greater photo set, and then actually taking those images, editing them so they all matched, and then curating them down so that they would all work in this little book. Thanks for coming on this little ride with me. This is a super fun experiment, and I'm really glad with how it turned out. If you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you subscribed and dropped a like. But regardless, thank you so much for watching this far in the video, and I will see you in the next one. I'm gonna get to reading.